In the 28th century, what used to be Earth's International Space Station begins working together with alien species, each of them bringing their own station and connecting it to Earth's. Over time, it turns into a diverse city known as Alpha, home to millions of beings from thousands of different worlds. It becomes so massive that it eventually gets moved into deep space, making it easier to reach more civilizations and keep expanding. To keep things peaceful among the huge population, the United Human Federation, or UHF, sets up a special police division. 400 years after Alpha is moved into deep space, the planet Mole lives quietly without any connection to other species, collecting pearls filled with massive energy and using a unique creature called the Converter to copy them. But one day, debris starts falling from the sky, made up of smaller ships and one giant spacecraft that sets off an explosion, wiping out every life form on the planet. The tribe's leaders, along with a large part of their people, manage to hide inside one of the ships, but when they shut the door and accidentally break the lock, they end up leaving Princess Liho Mina outside as the planet collapses around her. Right before the blast reaches her, she sends out her spirit in a burst of energy, hoping to share their message. The wave hits Major Valerian of the UHF while he's napping on a holographic beach inside his ship. He's traveling with his partner, Sergeant Laureline, someone he wants to be more than friends with, but she keeps rejecting him because she sees him as a flirt who can't commit. He tells the ship's AI, Alex, to check his brain, and she confirms he's picked up outside waves that might be from the present or the past, and from any place in the universe. The pair heads to planet Kyrian, where they get a message from the defense minister asking them to recover the last converter of its kind and bring it to Alpha for a highly classified mission. After landing and changing into outfits that make them blend in as tourists, they link up with Major Gibson and his crew, who will help them out during the operation. Valerian is set to sneak into a virtual marketplace and meet up with Laureline at a drop spot to hand off the item, but before they start, he proposes to Laureline to prove he's not scared of commitment. Laureline doesn't take it seriously though, and sends him off without a reply, giving him just a kiss on the cheek. The massive market exists in a different dimension, so to get in, Valerian has to wear a special headset and gloves. Once he's inside, he breaks protocol and heads into a restricted zone where humans aren't allowed to meet up with Sergeant Cooper, who hands him a pair of glasses to swap with his helmet to enter another layer of the dimension, plus a gun, a cube to power it, and a quick body scan to make him invisible. Without being noticed or seen, Valerian sneaks into a sketchy shop where Egon is trying to trade the converter to two aliens who look like the ones from his dream, offering those rare pearls in return. But Egon gets greedy and asks for more, and when they can't make a deal, everyone in the room pulls out their weapons on each other, including Valerian himself, which gives away his position behind Egon. At the same time, Laureline and the team drive around to the back of the market's outer wall and shoot the guard in the tower using a special weapon that lets them take full control of his movements. They then cut an opening in the wall so Laureline can pass through and meet Valerian at the drop spot with a special box, which she activates beside him, making it appear in the other dimension. Once Egon places the converter into the box, Laureline shuts it off and brings it back to the van, while Valerian hangs back for a bit to grab the special pearl too. He tries to sneak out, but his floating hand grabs the attention of the alien guard dog, which pounces on him, setting off a wild shootout. Laureline realizes Valerian's in danger and alerts the others, so they send Cooper to help, but he also gets attacked by the dog. Thanks to being almost invisible, Valerian manages to get out of the shop, but the platform for the box is damaged, and he's stuck in that dimension. A guard spots him walking through the market and starts chasing him, firing off magnetic metal balls that stick to his box and weigh him down so much that he falls through a manhole. He ends up in an arcade where he comes across a kid holding a toy gun. Valerian takes this moment to hand one of the magnetic balls to the kid, who fires it at a nearby alien, and because of the magnet's pull, all the other spheres follow the first one. Now that Valerian's free from the heavy weight, he can stand up again, but he accidentally makes the kid cry, which leads to the parent chasing him through the market. He runs until he crashes into Laureline, who quickly repairs the box just before the guards and the dog catch up to Valerian. But their problems aren't done yet. They've been spotted, and Egon is sending an even larger creature after them. The pair rushes out of the market while the alien under their control fires at the creature to keep it at bay until everyone is back in their vehicle. The monster quickly catches up as they drive off and jumps onto their van, so the team opens fire on it, but it doesn't work. Valerian decides to call Alex and asks the AI to bring their ship nearby, so he and Laureline escape through the window and jump safely into their vessel. The creature follows and leaps onto the ship too, but slips and falls when the ship speeds up to leave exospace. While Laureline places the converter in a treatment capsule, Valerian has Alex analyze the pearl and finds it holds an enormous amount of energy. However, when he searches for the planet in the system, it shows up as restricted access. After Laureline joins him on the deck and once again turns down his marriage proposal, they arrive at Alpha, where they get VIP treatment because of the converter they brought. They meet General Octo Bar, who explains there's a radioactive zone discovered in the middle of the station. They've sent drones and special troops, but none have returned alive. The contaminated area is expanding every day, so they need to stop it before it destroys the whole station. Commander Arun Fillet then shows up with his personal army of K-Tron's droids, which he plans to take to his meeting with the Security Council, but a call from the Defense Minister makes him take Valerian and Laureline as his bodyguards instead. Before heading to the meeting, Fillet stops to check on one of his prisoners, an alien from planet Mull being tortured for information. They haven't gotten anything from him, so Fillet tells his men to kill him if he doesn't talk within an hour. He also reminds his K-Trons what to do if the mission fails. Laureline brings the converter to the meeting because Fillet wants to use it as a bargaining chip, but she refuses to give it to him, keeping it safe with herself. Valerian enters the room with Fillet as he explains the contamination issue to the council, while Laureline waits outside guarding the door. Suddenly, 3 small aliens called the Dogon Dagwis approach her, offering their help. She asks about Planet Mull, and they say it's a sensitive topic that Major Samp was an expert on, but he died 3 years ago under mysterious circumstances. They also warn her that mercenaries will try to steal the converter just before an alarm starts blaring. The attackers move through the walls, and neither the Council nor the AIs can detect them, and when the officers in the command room try to evacuate, they find there's no power, and that they've been locked inside. Laureline joins Valerian, and together they try to get Fillet out, but suddenly the wall explodes, and a group of mule aliens rushes in, shooting everyone with a sticky substance that traps them in cocoons. Valerian sees this and quickly puts a capsule in his mouth before he gets covered too, and the aliens leave a few minutes later, taking Fillet wrapped in a cocoon with them. Once they're gone, a spider droid comes out of Valerian's capsule, cuts open the cocoon, and helps him wake up and escape. Next, he saves Laureline and gives her his knife so she can free the others while he goes after the aliens and Fillet. Power comes back to the command room, and Laureline tracks Fillet and his kidnappers on the screen, sending directions to Valerian through the communicator. The fastest way to reach them is through a wall, so Valerian breaks through one with his suit and runs through several different environments until Alex picks him up in their ship because the aliens have also boarded a vessel. A high-speed chase follows, and Valerian fires at them, but the enemy ship splits into hundreds of smaller ships. Valerian chases the one they think Fillet is on, but his ship is too big to follow it through the narrow paths, so he switches to the Skyjet and uses its hook to latch onto the enemy ship and follow it wherever it goes. Unfortunately, this causes him to lose control and get dragged into the dead zone, and Laureline loses all contact with him. She wants to go save him, but General Barr forbids it and orders his men to hold her back. Before they take her away, she manages to plant a doubt in his mind. Why are aliens from a destroyed planet here? And if they're so bad, why did they let the Council live? Someone has been lying to them. Once she's out of sight, Barr checks Planet Mull in the database and finds out even he can't access that level of classified info. As she leaves the command room, Laureline pretends to help the guards by telling them to cuff her, and when they get close, she grabs them and knocks them out until they're unconscious. Then she meets up with the Dogon Dagwis and makes them lead her to Valerian's exact location. The 4 of them head to see Bob, who will take them fishing for something very rare, a Cortex jellyfish. Laureline gets on Bob's submarine, which takes her deep underwater to look for bromosaurs, huge creatures that carry jellyfish on their backs. Bob uses the sub's special claws to grab the jellyfish from a bromosaur, which takes more than just a strong pull and makes the creatures angry. 3 bromosaurs start chasing them through the water, but luckily, the submarine is fast enough, and they lose them by taking a tight path. Back on land, the Dogon Dagwis explain that Laureline has to place the jellyfish on her head and let it guide her to what she's looking for, but she can't keep it on for more than a minute or it will start feeding on her memory. Laureline follows their advice and pushes herself, staying with the jellyfish for 1 minute and 10 seconds until she sees Valerian's location, a sign that says L630 ESUL deactivated, which the Dogon Dagwis say means level 630 east. After she leaves to save her partner, the Dogon Dagwis go to General Barr to sell him info about the alien hostage Fillet has been hiding. Bar immediately arrests everyone involved in the interrogation and tries to help the mole alien, but the alien makes his body explode to send a message like the princess did, telling Bar they're attacking because the UHF has what they want. When his assistant Sergeant Neza runs the alien's DNA through their system, they find out this species isn't in their records, meaning they either never existed or someone deleted them from the files. Laureline reaches level 630 East and, after carefully moving through a rocky area, she finds Valerian unconscious on the ground. She wakes him up using special medicine, and after a silly argument, she passes time watching butterflies while Valerian fixes his vessel. What she doesn't realize is that not all the butterflies are real, some are traps, and when she touches one unknowingly, a primitive tribe called the Bulan Bathers from planet Gora catches her and takes her into their restricted territory. Valerian deliberately touches a butterfly too, so he gets caught, but he shoots his captor and hides behind a wall as he reconnects with Alex. The AI tells him that the only way to get in without causing a diplomatic problem is to find a glamopod. Now that Valerian is out of the dead zone, the UHF can track him again. The guards are told not to harm him, only to find and help him, so Valerian easily threatens an officer, takes a special invisible gun from him, knocks him out, and enters Paradise Alley. There are many human callgirls offering their services on the street, but Valerian goes to a special club and asks Jolly the pimp for a glamopod, an alien that can shapeshift into whatever form they want. Jolly takes Valerian to watch Bubble's show, who dances while constantly changing her appearance, and after she finishes, Valerian pulls out his gun, knocks Jolly out, and makes a deal with Bubble, who is an illegal immigrant. If she helps him find Laureline, he'll get her a legal pass and freedom from the club. Bubble agrees and helps them escape by hiding Valerian inside her jelly-like body and transforming into Jolly. They use the same trick to enter the area where Laureline is held captive. Bubble just has to transform into a Bulan Bather. Meanwhile, Laureline tries to talk to her captors but gets no response. They just keep showing her dresses to choose from. She ends up wearing a white one with a huge hat that has a hole on the top, and she's placed in a line of servants carrying food to their emperor, where Bubble and Valerian have also sneaked in. The emperor doesn't like any of the dishes brought to him, including Valerian's, so he steps out of the line and watches Laureline as she approaches from behind the guards. Her dish is just a lemon, which the emperor squeezes over her head before pulling out a special tool to crack open her skull. Valerian acts fast, hitting a guard with his tray to grab weapons and fight the rest of the aliens, even jumping on the emperor to kill him. Now free, Laureline takes a sword from a fallen body, and along with Bubble, they help Valerian fight the guards, but more keep coming. Valerian quickly comes up with a plan. He grabs Laureline's hand and pretends to charge, but instead, they all fall, along with Bubble, into a manhole that leads to a new area. Back in the command room, General Barr talks with the defense minister and demands access to Philip's classified files, which he finally gets after some hesitation from the minister. The file on planet Mole says it was accidentally destroyed during a war and that the planet was never inhabited, which is clearly not true. When Barr tries to find out who was responsible for such a terrible operation, he finds that information is, once again, classified. What's also starting to annoy him is the constant presence of the K-Trons, who were programmed by Philip and only he can send them away. Valerian and Laureline fall into a giant trash bin and discover that Bubble was hurt during the fight. Her last words to Valerian ask him to take good care of Laureline before her body turns to dust. The two start wandering around, although Valerian insists he sort of knows where he's going. He admits to her that the princess's spirit inside him has been leading him the whole time. They end up in the dead zone, but nothing happens to them. The contamination threat has always been a lie. Valerian thinks Philip actually knows what's really behind the glowing wall they come across. It's the mole people who have been expecting them. They meet their leaders, who then explain what happened on that terrible day years ago. After the big explosion, they drifted through space for many years, salvaging whatever they could from the vessel they escaped in, and learning all the sciences stored in its database to repair it. One day, they were picked up by scrap dealers who eventually sold their cargo to Alpha Station, and they've been hiding there ever since, gaining more knowledge and building a new ship to help them rebuild their home on a new planet. The only things they still need are a converter and a pearl, which is why they hired Igon to steal them so Philip wouldn't find out, but unfortunately, Valerian and Laureline messed up that plan. Now that they know their story, the aliens trust that they'll do the right thing and wake up Philip, who immediately orders Valerian and Laureline to arrest the mole people, claiming they're lying and that the planet was never inhabited while they were fighting in the area. But they don't believe him. In fact, they've already figured out what really happened. Philip was the soldier in charge that day, and he decided to launch the missiles without caring that people lived on the planet. All he had to do afterward was erase all the evidence. That's why he killed Major Samp and made up the contaminated zone when the Mole people showed up in Alpha. Philip gives in and admits it's true, saying he only did it to protect humans from losing their credibility and power in Alpha before ordering Valerian to arrest the leaders. Valerian obviously ignores him, punches him instead, and then gives the aliens the pearl he was carrying. Laureline wants to give them the converter too, but Valerian objects, saying it's government property, until Laureline points out that's exactly why he doesn't understand love, and that's why she doesn't want to marry him, which makes him change his mind. As a thank you for letting her do this, she finally kisses him on the lips. General Barr's men and the K-Trons reach the other side of the glowing wall and confirm there's no contamination before planting explosives. Meanwhile, the Mole leader puts the pearl into the converter, finally creating the energy they need to power up the new ship they've built, which projects a hologram of their old planet. With their mission complete, the princess can now rest in peace, so the leaders remove her soul from Valerian's body. When they hear about the soldiers outside, a group of aliens cross the wall and calmly talk to them, showing they mean no harm. Barr sees this and becomes even more convinced of the truth when Valerian and Laureline call him to explain everything, but he still needs Philip's confirmation to cancel the operation. The duo drags Philip in and tries to make him talk, but instead, he orders an all-out attack, which his K-Trons immediately carry out. The droids start killing both the people by the wall and those inside the command room, where Barr tells Neza to stop the countdown. While Laureline keeps punching Philip and Valerian crosses the wall to shoot the K-Trons, Neza sneaks around, opens a control panel, and works directly with the system. He manages to stop the bombs just a second before they explode, and the Mole people successfully leave Alpha in their new starship. When some of the surviving soldiers find Philip hanging from the ceiling in the hole the Mole made, General Barr orders them to arrest him for his war crimes. Valerian and Laureline also manage to escape using the service ship the Mole arrived in at Alpha. While waiting to be rescued, Valerian asks Laureline to marry him again, and this time she says maybe before kissing him on the lips. Hey, thanks a lot for sticking around till the end. If you like this recap, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for future videos.